company. You're going to go to the companies that you're interested in. I would even recommend, if you haven't already, to definitely check out our employer partner list. These are the companies that we have relationships with, that we have partnerships with, that we are able to flag your applications with. And once you are there, you are able, and I'll go back to the LinkedIn in a moment to show you, but you can go to where the employee list of that entire company is. For example, if you went to Upwardly Global's page, you would be able to see my name included in the employers, and you could reach out to me and say, hey, Lorena, I'm interested in working for Upwardly Global. Are you the right contact person, etc. You do want to try to pick the correct person to reach out to, though, and that person, of course, would have similar titles to recruiter, talent acquisition specialist, head of talent, HR manager, recruitment manager. These are all basically saying the same thing, right? Someone who is involved in the hiring process at that company. So, do's and don'ts for this outreach. Basically, you want to make it personalized. We are all just humans, and I think it's obvious when you receive a message from someone and it's copy paste. So, try to address something very specific to this person if you can. Highlight, of course, your value. Why should they even read this message from you? You want to be really straightforward, mentioning your years of experience, mentioning your specific skills, and don't keep it too long, keep it short. People have very little time. They will just look at your message very briefly, if they even look at it at all. And then this is the thing I would like you to remember, if you remember anything from today, to always include a call to action. CTA is the abbreviation, and a call to action is asking this person to do something. And it's very useful because if we don't ask people to do something specific, oftentimes, which is human nature, we do nothing because you didn't ask me. So I'm just going to click and forget about it. Like I said, avoid sending the same message to many recruiters at the same time. Quality over quantity in this case. And avoid mentioning salary, because this is a topic that will come later on. If you do get in touch with the recruiter, this is something, that should be mentioned when you have already established a relationship. And then, of course, always check for grammar and spelling errors so that you're coming across as professional as you can. Like I said, the CTA, or call to action, is really powerful. Some very basic examples would be at the end of your message saying, let's connect, or please check out my profile to see how I could help, or can we schedule a call to discuss? So you're asking this person for something specific. Here is one idea of a template. Of course, you can create your own. You can change it as is suitable for your needs, but I'm just going to read it out loud so you can get an idea. So you can say, hi, Stacy. I noticed that you are a recruiter in Warsaw area. I wanted to reach out to discuss potentially working together. Now, working together here doesn't mean that you're co-workers. It means the recruiter is working with you to basically land you a job. I'm a researcher and currently seeking new opportunities. I'd love to find out if I may be a fit for any of your current openings. And I'd also be happy to connect you with other professionals in my field. So this person decided also to offer something. In some cases, you may not want to add that last line. Maybe you don't have anyone to connect with for this person, and that's fine. But as you can see, it ends with a call to action. Let's connect, and then your name. Here is a different type of message. All of them will have very similar themes, right? So hello, Stacy. I came across your profile while researching top recruiters in the accounting industry. I was impressed by your extensive experience in placing candidates in leading companies. I'm currently exploring opportunities in the finance sector, and I believe my skills in, let's say, accounting and HR align well with your company's mission and values. I would greatly appreciate the opportunity to connect and discuss how my background can add value to your talent pool. So we're putting ourselves in the position of the recruiter. If you are a top candidate and you can argue that you are a top candidate, this actually helps the recruiter, right? Because their goal is to find a suitable fit to fill. And you're helping them and they're helping you. One last one, or did I already read that? Hi, this one's a bit shorter. Hi, Stacy. My name is Lorena, and I'm a accountant just looking to connect and share with others in the industry at this time. Please check out my profile to see how I can help. Let's connect, Lorena. Short and sweet. It's a bit more informal. So really, I would customize your tone and the length of the message depending on the person that it is, maybe even depending on the company, because each company has a bit of a different culture. Like a startup company has a different culture than a big international, multinational company, right? So just think about who is your audience before you send off your message. And usually, right, what you're writing in the message is a connect message. It's a connect request. So we talked already about expanding your network, and in order to write a message, unless you have the premium account, you must first connect to that person. So these messages I showed you are some of them will not be long enough to be a connect message, but some of them will. I do encourage all of you to get premium. We, as an organization, Upwardly Global, provides you with the LinkedIn premium accounts. So don't hesitate to ask me for the code for that so that I can give that to you. And the benefit, one of them related to this topic, is that you will be able to send a longer message without being this person's connected network. So you can send a message to anyone. If you do not have it, you can only send the connect message. Okay, before I continue with the next thing, do we have any questions about reaching out to recruiters? What kind of messaging to send to them? What are your concerns or anything that I did not mention?
No, Lorena, it's all clear. So we're fine.
Okay, sounds good. And I would say my last comment on this is don't be scared to send these messages. Recruiters receive these messages all day, every day from people everywhere. So, just start doing it and see what happens. You might not hear a response from 10 out of, let's say, 10 out of 10, but I would still say send the 11th message, because it just takes that one recruiter to have a relationship with that can really help you find a job. Okay, so moving along to the media and links. As anything on LinkedIn, the reason to do this is to stand out from the crowd. You want to be that light bulb on the side, right? We don't want your profile to look like everyone else's, and adding any sort of media really helps to customize your profile. You also are increasing engagement, and engagement on LinkedIn, just like engagement on any social media platform, means that someone is spending more time on your profile. Why is that important? Because when someone spends time on your profile, they actually get to know you more. They're reading more information about you. They're clicking on different links, hopefully, and they're getting a much bigger picture of your skills and talent and experience than if they just spent, let's say, 1 minute. So we want to keep people on your profile for as long as we can to keep them interested. And of course, it also helps to present your brand, your products, and services in a visual form. Not everyone is going to be in the industry that is, let's say, lends itself to this. If you're a graphic designer or a photographer, for example, these are very clear visual fields. But I would still encourage you to think of creative ways that you can present yourself visually. And we'll talk more about what those could be. And of course, highlighting and showcasing your specific skills. So is there anyone here, since we are such a small group today, is there anyone here who is would call themselves in the creative industry?
I see.
I'm sorry, Maxim, you just froze for a moment. Anyone else want to chime in? Okay, so what I wanted to say, it's okay if no one is on the call that is either a designer or architect or marketer or, let's say photographer, but these are types of professionals that typically have portfolios, right? You have a body of work that you are presenting visually. And so this is really important to include that portfolio on your LinkedIn, of course, because it will help you to show all the wonderful projects that you have worked on in the past. So you can see from this profile example that this person has 3 different websites that they have included. They have their Twitter handle, and that all looks very good. They don't have the URL, they have a hyperlink. So that I will show you how to do that, but it will ask you what is the words that you want, and then to add the actual link so that it's just has the title in there. So that's about adding a portfolio or a, let's say, website. You can also add articles, writing samples, or any published work that you have. It's okay if this is not in English. I would still add it and add a description in English so that, let's say, an employer who doesn't speak Ukrainian or Russian can still understand what is this about. And this is mainly something that if you're a journalist, a professor, a researcher, a copy editor, you can really utilize this feature. And again, you're going to put it in the media links section, which I will show you. So in this example, this person has they have included this under their responsibilities of a job. So that's also an option. You don't have to necessarily put your links and media in the very top. You can also embed it in your experience section if you prefer that. And then work samples of any type and just some ideas of how those work samples could be shared. You could have a slide share, which is just a presentation. You could have a mind map. You could have an infographic. You could have a video. And this is just a visual example of what an infographic is, right? So I'm sure you've seen them in different formats. You can actually create one for yourself. Could be about your top knowledge, could be about your top experiences, your top skills. We are visual people more and more these days, especially. And so I do think that it's nice, even if it feels like a repetition of what's already there, it is a nice way to visualize your skills. So consider creating something like an infographic or mind map. And nowadays it's very easy, even on Canva, you can just type in mind map or infographic, and you will have many amazing templates to work with, and you can update them and change them to suit your needs. Other ideas for media or links are images, blog posts, screenshots of, let's say, screenshots of certain work that you did. There's so many things now that are stored online, so I think that's very helpful if you do not have it yourself, to at least try to find something that was already published that is related to your work, and screenshotting and adding it as an image, as a JPEG. You can, like I said, add PDFs and videos as well. This example, she's a career coach and she's added her blog posts, links to her blog posts in the featured section. So as soon as someone goes to Hannah's profile, they will understand, oh, she has her own blog, and right, that would be an impressive thing to see, and you wouldn't want to keep that out of your LinkedIn. Before I move along, any questions about what media or links to add to your profile? I'm actually going to hop over to my profile just to show you what that exactly would look like.
I have one small question. If I can't add anything about link, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm didn't have some profile. What I can add to my link account? I'm a specialist information security field. This is my profession field, and I don't know what I can add in my account.
That's a great question. I'm wondering, is there any proof of any like projects you have worked on in the past, or are those confidential?
Yes, it was confidential, but I add in my account only information about my achievement. I have some achievement, but it only article, only text, and without different additional information, because I can't add it. I can speak only my achievement, also not without additional information, and I wrote it information, but maybe I can add anything different, something. I don't know what I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tricky, but what I would still suggest is to create a visual of your top skills. So for example, you could create an infographic, for example, with, let's say, a picture of yourself in the middle, and then what are your top skill areas within that industry. Because you don't have any way to go back to, let's say, what company you did it for, or what exactly was involved, but you can still talk about your skill set in a visual way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It's like some post about my skills.
Yeah, so a post, but in a visual format. And what I mean by that is, I can just show you, for example, on Canva. Let me go over to Canva for a moment. Okay, so I'm just used to using Canva, but I'm sure there's many other ways and places to do it. But if you're here and you just search for infographic, and then there's going to be templates for infographics, and there's so many, but we want to, maybe we can put another word to help us. Category marketing. So what I meant is more like, how can you put a snapshot of your biggest skills, main skills in some sort of visual way? So for example, this is just an example, like what kind of, right? Of course you would have to change everything, but you could say my top 5 skills in repeat, what was your field again? Security.
Information security field. I got you. I can write about my skills about different system what I used in my previous job. Only in graphic, maybe that people pay attention on this color or different. I got it. Thank you. I got it.
Yeah. And it's a repetition of what you have already in your CV and your LinkedIn, just a visual version of that.
And I can write maybe some information about this system and what my opinion about this system and my experience with this system. Yes? Oh, thank you. I got it. Thanks.
Exactly. And in addition to that, if you're already thinking, you are an expert in this field. And so how can you use this expertise? How can you market this expertise? And one way is to write. You could even create a blog, right? You could create a blog post about your opinion on a certain system. And then you could put the link of this blog in your profile. So even if you don't have it, think about, creating content related to your field to showcase your expertise.
Thanks a lot. I got it.
Thanks for the question. Does anyone else have a question related to their field? How to use links in their field?
Hi everybody. I'm Anna. I work like a business analyst, and still the same question. Maybe in my field I can illustrate my skills with some kind of snapshots or something like that. That's the idea. Maybe you have seen something like that, because me not. I didn't see it in LinkedIn. But
I haven't, but I love that idea. And one way I would also really recommend doing is collecting information from other people's profiles who have similar jobs than you. So even if you search, search your field or industry title, it could bring you to a profile that has good examples, or even just Googling, right? Googling that and seeing what comes up, because there is a lot being done out there and everyone has a different way of showcasing. But I think you could definitely do that. And also something, I don't know, Anna, do you have in your field, would there be something like client testimonial or client experience that you could refer to?
Unfortunately, everything is confidential. And I even thought about to mock up some presentation, or maybe like a demonstration of my skill, for example, in process modeling. This is one of fields. and to make the mock-up, but it takes time, and I'm not sure that it will help. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think my sort of attitude is yes, this might take time and you're not sure what the impact will be, but it's always better to try and try something different to showcase your skills than not. So I would say go for it and see. Maybe don't make it too much work for yourself, but if you have a short, let's say, idea of how to present it, let's say in some slides, I think that would be great for a potential recruiter or company to see what is the quality of your work, what is your creative approach, what is your skill set that you're using when you create that.
Okay, thank you. And one more technical question: is there any special place for that if there are not posts actually, but maybe some media section?
Yes, thanks for asking. I'm gonna jump over now to my profile on LinkedIn and just show you exactly where that section lives and looks like. So let's just go from the beginning. You're gonna go to your profile, view profile. And then once you're here, you're gonna scroll down to featured. Here you can press the, let's say, pen button, and you can add a plus, and you can add any of these types of things. So first one is newsletter, second one is article, third one is link, and fourth one is media. Let's just test out link. So if I press link, I'm going to basically just put in a URL of my link file or video and then add it. So for example, if I added our program link, right, this thumbnail would pop up, and then it already automatically added a title, but I have the option to change that if it's not correct. And I also have the option to add a description. I would recommend adding descriptions anytime you can, even if it's 1 to 2 sentences. This helps to provide the context. So for example, you could say infographic showcasing my top 5 skills. And then if we were to add media, you will see that it just goes to my desktop. And I can add, PDF, I can add JPEG, I can basically add whatever things I have. I have a lot of things on here, but you can basically save it to your desktop and add it directly. What else? So that's the featured section, but there are other places that you can add media. And let me just scroll down to show you where those are. So within your experience section, let's say you wanted to add media related to a specific job, you would also press the pen and you would go down and we have this media section. So add media, and again, we have the option of a link or just media, which will be a picture, a PDF, an image, right? So that's also a nice place to add it because it's directly related to a specific position. For example,
I'm sorry, I have a question here because I had this problem. Do we have the option here to make the title for that media? Because it could consider to all of my, I don't know, specializations here, or for some specific skill, for example. And I would like to underline that.
Yeah. So as I just tried out randomly. So when you're adding the link, it's the same as in the feature section. You have the option to do a title and to also update that title. And you also have the option to create a description.
The same interface.
Same
like
interface.
Yep.
Featured. And I think, let's try it with links, should be the same. no, sorry, with media. Upload media, open. Yes, so you can always update the title and description and then apply, and then that will be visually recognizable under the position. For example, my position with Upwardly Global, I have added the link to our program. And if you were to go on my profile, you would see that link right here and you could click on it.
Thank you so much.
Sure. And I want to just double check if there's any other places for media. Let's see. So we talked about featured on the top. We talked about experience section. And of course, always good is the proof of your certificates and licenses. So let's say you were adding a certificate or license. I always, if you have it, always add media, which would be the screenshot of the certificate or the PDF of the certificate, just because it's nice and it, makes it look more credible and it shows the information that is important. Sometimes we don't have those things anymore. Maybe it was a long time ago, it got lost. Maybe you don't have it anymore. I totally understand. That's the case for my certificate for English, but when you do, definitely put it up there. And then same thing with projects and volunteering. Every section, I believe, has the option to add media. Let's see. No, yes. So even projects has a media section. And let's see if volunteering does. I believe it does. Okay, yes. So in that case, this is a nice segue into volunteering. Let's say you have a photo of you doing this action. Great, right? As long as it's okay to share, as long as there's not other people on the photo that wouldn't like to be on, let's say online, but it is just nice to showcase the activity in a visual format. Or let's say you help to create a project and that project has a website. Put the website underneath the media section. The types of media are always going to be link or media that you upload from your desktop. So that said, let me jump back to my presentation and just talk really briefly about the volunteer option. So why would adding a volunteer section be beneficial to you in your job search? It, again, like everything else, establishes your personal brand. It can also showcase soft skills. Let's say, I have had this, like when I'm looking for a job and in the meantime, volunteering, it shows that you are developing your soft skills at the same time as you're job searching. It boosts, or it can boost, your social capital. You have connections with a company or an organization. And in fact, and this part, I actually learned this today, researching, is that 41% of managers and employers said that they would hire someone based on their volunteer experience. So sometimes your volunteer experience could even, boost your ability to land that job, because maybe there's some specific skill that you used. Maybe there's something about, about that experience that proved something to the employer that was important for them. And so I would say, if you have had volunteer experience, definitely put it on there. If you're considering volunteer experience at the moment, while you are job searching, even if it's just, let's say, once a week for 1 to 2 hours, consider this as potentially beneficial in your job search, because it does showcase your ability to work in a team, your ability to put yourself out there, your ability to contribute. And I will show again on my profile, but for just a quick overview, right? This is, you're going to add the volunteer experience on your profile. You can add an additional section. And then the information that you will need to collect or need to have to do that will be, what is the organization name? What is the role that you are playing at the organization? You can choose what kind of cause it is based on, and start and end date. And then, of course, as always, a brief description is always nice. What were your main responsibilities, or what were the main projects that you were involved with? So like I said, position, dates, organization, those are the main key pieces of information that you will need. And what it would look like on an actual live profile. Okay, so I already have a section, so I don't need to add a section. But if you were at the top of your profile, add profile section, this is where you would press. And as you can see, I already have it there, so don't think I can add it again, right? So I would press add volunteer experience. And then I would fill in this information. Again, we have the media section. And once you press save, this section will pop up towards the bottom of your profile after experience, after licenses, after projects. Then you have your volunteering, and underneath volunteering, skills. And remember that you can also link skills to volunteering, I believe. Let me double check if that's correct. No, sorry. Skills is only linked to your professional experience. Okay. But still, when you're marketing yourself, you know, and you haven't, let's say, haven't had the professional experience in a certain skill, but you have had the volunteer experience, that can be a really helpful bridge. Let's say you reskilled into like a tech field or a designer, graphic design field, but you haven't actually gotten any paid experience. This is where the volunteering can really come in and show a company, I didn't get paid, but I was in a professional setting doing this skill, using this skill, and contributing. Any questions about volunteer experience? What could, right, maybe be the benefits, or are you concerned that there are any drawbacks?
Yes, Lorena, what would you advise about volunteer experience? So, should be any volunteer experience relevant to our main skills or main activity? For example, if someone is a builder and he or she works as a builder, and as a volunteer activity, she or he builds houses for homeless people, it's understood that it's quite clear and it's fine. But as for me, for example, I am a lawyer and my main activity is law. But when the war started, I was working as a volunteer and provided some body armors, camouflage nets, candles for military forces of Ukraine. Is it relevant for my experience and for my LinkedIn profile in this case? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. I would say if you can make a bridge in a hypothetical interview, if this is a point that is important to you personally, if it shows something about your personality and your character, I would still put it. Let's say someone is volunteering they're in finance, but they volunteer to help kids learn how to play soccer, right? If I'm the employer, I'm still understanding something different about this candidate than if they didn't put it. I'm understanding that they are patient. I'm understanding that they probably have good people skills if they're working with kids. So yeah, I would just consider for yourself if this experience showcases something about yourself that would be an added plus to share with the company. Any other questions?
Yes, I have questions too. I need to ask if I have some long term of this volunteering, for example, for half of year or nearly like this, and I have not another work in this time. Is it better to name this like volunteering or maybe like a job, for example? What better way?
Yeah, good question, Mariana. I think that if the position was unpaid, we have to be transparent about that and call it volunteering. But I would say definitely in the way that you write about it in your profile can be very professional, right? You can list, let me see if it's possible. If you can list some key, I would write a pretty extensive description in that experience about what were the things that you contributed because it was such a significant amount of time, and try to use the keywords of the skills that you would like to use in a paid position. So definitely add it, 100% add it, but do add it in the volunteer section, and do add, if you can, any media. Even if you're still there now, maybe someone there can help you brainstorm, like, is there some sort of media that you could have someone take a picture of you there? Could you write an article about your experience so that it's kind of built out a little more, and you can use that as a very good talking point if you land an interview.
So if it could be maybe in both section, yes? For example, like volunteering, but with long experience, for example, I don't know, because it's make my some skills better, or maybe I have new skills because of my volunteering. Yes, it's maybe volunteering part in this LinkedIn page, and maybe some, like, I don't know, job experience, but I don't know what is better.
Did you ever receive payment for this?
No.
Okay, so that's why I say stick with volunteer. But the other thing you can do, which will also bring it more into the professional realm, because I understand what you're saying, like you want to somehow elevate this experience into a more professional perspective. So what I would do is think about what were the main skills that you either developed or used in this time as a volunteer, and add those skills in your skills section, and add those skills in your about section. And you can even you can write a short paragraph also in your about section about this volunteering, because it's significant. And even if it was unpaid, you want to make it clear that, can I ask, is this experience very closely related to the kind of position that you would like to have as a paid position?
Yes, because it's communication with people, with refugees, and something like nearest area.
Perfect. So yeah, in that case, I would just really emphasize it in different sections of your profile, including the about section and including the skills section. The reason I would not recommend to also add it into the job section is because when an interviewer is, let's say, looking at your LinkedIn, or let's say even resume, they can say, oh, I see that you have this job at this organization. Can you tell me about it? Then in conversation, right, it will come up that this is actually volunteer. So we just don't want to confuse people with what is the actual type of position. So I would say, to be safe, keep it in volunteer, but professionalize it in any way that you can.
So how about, for example, title of this job pose? For example, do I need named it's like break of my job?
Can you repeat that again, Mariana? In what should you have the title of the volunteer experience? Is that your question?
Not about volunteer experience, about this time of period without job.
Yes, good question. In your resume, you can have a transition period, and I can't, if you haven't seen what that looks like already, if you can write your email either to me directly on LinkedIn or here in the chat, what I can do is send you a resume example which has this transition period, because there in your resume you can list any courses that you have been taking in this time, any volunteer experience like you are doing, so that this is the first thing that they see under experience, so that they don't have to go down to volunteer area to see, because this is what you have been actively engaging with right now. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so I'll send the PDF to you with that on the resume. And as for LinkedIn, you don't need to really indicate anything. They will see just by going through your profile, these are the things you're doing. Now, you've been volunteering, but for the resume, it's more important to make clear, like from which point in the past to now, what have you been doing?
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I type you in LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you. I will write you back.
Lorena, let me add it if you don't mind. Well,
Sure.
usually business coaches propose to fill the gap in our professional experience in cover letters to explain potential employers that I have some skills, for example, managerial skills, and then I quit my work and continue.
Oh, we lost you, Maxim. But yes, very good advice. Also mentioning in your cover letter what you have been currently up to. And for you, Mariana, making the bridge very clear. Like, I'm really gaining practical experience in this field, and I would like to apply this new knowledge and experience